that hour, that was the worst part, when you're just kind of left there to think, how do you raise kids on your own? How do you tell them that? That's where I was at the time.
It was a Wednesday, and I had just some regular stomach upset that afternoon. I got really chilly but was sweaty, and then the pain started moving around to my back. They said, oh, you have gallstones. Like, that's, your late 30s, and that's classic, and at one point my oldest came up and I was curled up in bed just crying, and he went and got my husband and was like, Mommy's crying. All four of us drove to the emergency room and got an ultrasound.
The ER doctor explained it as, it's a gallbladder. We saw that on the ultrasound. We're just sending you for a CAT scan because something looks inflamed. They kind of in the beginning didn't say much. About an hour later, the doctor came in and said, we don't want to keep you in the dark, but we noticed a spot on your pancreas.
So they were looking for gallstones, and they found this tumor on my pancreas. Things don't always go as planned in any way, right? You're not supposed to get a tumor when you're 38.
I immediately went to worst case scenario. I went to it's pancreatic cancer, and how are we going to get through this? Fear, being scared, just not knowing, I think, is the hardest part.
I have to get better because my kids need me. I'm going to do whatever I need to do, not just for myself, but in my case, my family. When we met with surgical oncology, he let us know it was a pancreatic neuroendocrine tumor. It's very slow growing. There was, a good prognosis with it, especially with when they found it. It was about 2 to 3 centimeters in size. That's when he suggested the Whipple procedure as the treatment. They took out the head of my pancreas. They took my gallbladder. They took 7 centimeters of my stomach, which is about half of my stomach, and they took 30 centimeters of small bowel. And they somehow put all that back together. They wouldn't have been able to put all the pieces of the puzzle together without the pathologists and the laboratory professionals. There's somebody on the other side looking through that microscope that knows what type of cell that is and what type of tumor it belongs to, which is remarkable. The lab is a huge part in your treatment plan, and they do save lives.
Without the lab, we don't know that there's an infection. The lab tells us what the infection was, so then the provider knows how to treat it. They know that, okay, in this fluid sample, there's a pancreatic leak. So from here, they change the course of the treatment very quickly. So I think the role with her is it saved her life multiple times.
Just make sure that you're asking as many questions, and that, yes, it's okay to make sure that you're understanding every aspect of this. It's your life.
I think one of the biggest things I learned about her, which I feel I already knew, but just how incredibly strong she is. She's my rock. She's the one person that I've always been able to count on.
Nothing outweighs the fact that I'm around and I have time to do family things, or that I'm, going to get my kids off the bus in a little bit.